Hey guys, it's Anthony Romrell, and we're going to do some level building in Unity. I'm going to teach you about game objects and transforms and assets and hierarchies and all those fun things. So I've got a little bit of a head start I created in a previous video. A few things what we're going to do. I'm in the Move tool, and the keys are just like Maya. So it's QWER. So you've got, if you select an object, for example, if I hit Q, it's select, W is move, E is rotate, and R is scale. So I have these objects. They're at a scale of zero point 0.5, which is what we're going to need for every object that we bring in for this particular game. And what we're going to do is we're going to build to the size of the camera. I also turned on snapping. So to do that, we have to be in the move tool for it to snap. And I'm snapping at a grid size of 0.25, and it's since it's if it's blue, it's enabled. And then another thing we're going to do is make sure, we'll just switch to 2D, that each one of these objects has a box collider on it, not a 2D box collider. That's going to be really important when we start to work on our game. Also, if you hit the F key, you can frame just like Maya, which means basically zoom into an object. So couple things to note. So if an object is in the project, it is called an asset. If an object is in the hierarchy and the scene, it is called a game object. So every time I grab an asset from the project and put it into the scene, it becomes a game object. So say, for example, I go to these boxes and or let's see, I've got a different box here. This box, I've got this sprite. Now we have to open them up so we can grab a sprite. A sprite has a little icon that kind of looks like a small purple box. So if I bring a sprite in, the process of setting this up is to scale it to 5 and add a box collider. And then we can use the move tool to snap it into place, just like so. Right? Now, your job is to take assets, bring them from the project, bring them into the scene or the hierarchy, and I'd like to see you guys build levels however you want, right? So that's the main task to do, and I want you to be creative as you're designing this. One thing to note is I just double click the camera. That shows me the entire camera. One thing to note is that as you're working, you want everything to be within the view of the camera. And there's all sorts of sprites. So go ahead and go through and have some fun. So, I've got boxes here. I've got spikes, saws. So let me come to this spike here. And there's some spikes. I'm just going to bring this spike in. I'm going to scale it to 5. I'm going to add a box collider, not a 2D box collider. And I'm going to just drag this over, put it down to the bottom. You can barely see it through the camera. That's okay. And, I'm going to rename this to Spike. And I'm going to put a 0 in parentheses. Then I'm going to take this sprite and duplicate it. So just Command D, move it over, Command D, move it over. You get the idea, right? Maybe I'll go all the way across, maybe to there. Now what I can do is I can take all these sprites here and I can create what's called a null object. So just right click and create empty. And I'm going to call this one spikes. And I'm going to take all of these spikes and drag them under in a hierarchy to this new spikes right here. I'm going to duplicate it and let's drag this over and I'll have spikes now for the other side. You see that? Now I can also do that with, this is called idle, but these are boxes, right? So this is going to be box, we'll call this box 0. And there's this other, we'll call this box 1. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create an empty. So create an empty. Call this one box. Let's call this platform. Platform. Let's call it platform 0. So it's the first platform. And I'm going to take these 2 boxes and put them under the platform in a hierarchy. Then I'm going to take this box 1 right here and duplicate it and drag it over. Double click that platform here. Now go into the hand tool, I can get my controls, right? So that's Q to get that hand control. Then I could take that platform 0, I can duplicate it, hit W, and now I can have a couple platforms. I'm going to duplicate that again, and there is our third platform. So within these objects, each one has a transform, and within the transform, we can control the position, the rotation, and the scale of these objects, right? And each game object has a transform. This is called a component. And so if you look at these, like, if I open the platform, it has a transform component, but then the box collider has transform component, box collider component, and a sprite renderer component. So you can see components make up the usage or utilization of a game object set like this, right? So your job this week is to just have fun, go through the sprites, and add things in. Be creative if you'd like, and just try something new. There's no right way, there's no wrong way to do it. It's just build a level this week in Unity. Try to keep it within the bounds of the camera. We're not going to, that's this wide edge around here. We're not going to like move the camera in this particular portion of the class. We're just building out a single camera view for now. And but add more decorations. Like I can add more sprites on top of these boxes. You can just be creative. You can use AI to draw inspiration. You can search the web to draw inspiration. Whatever it is you need. And if you need a little extra help, feel free to message me on Teams. So, and as always, remember to save and put this on Git. So we're going to save this. We're going to bring up Git Desktop. Okay. And it does have a number of changes here. So we want to make sure that we're always working on these changes. So there it is, right? It has that new game change. So I'm going to say level work. And it's just good practice for you to try to commit when you're done, say the end of the day, right? So I'm going to commit those 2 files, and I'm just going to hit either Command P or Control P or push to origin. And now if you're working on more than one computer, make sure that when you start a session on the computer that you hit fetch from origin, or if there's things to pull down, you can go to repository pull. That brings stuff from the main repository. So let's say that you're working on, a game on this computer, and then you have another computer at home or at school that you need to push and pull. Just remember every time to make sure that you push and pull. And then as always, you're going to take for your assignments, you're going to take a screen capture of this. There's instructions for you to do so. You're going to submit your Git repo and then write a little bit about how your week went. And, bottom line, we hope you have fun building this stuff in this class. If it gets to be too stressful, message me on Teams. We can work stuff out. We can talk about what will it take to improve, your class period.